Happy New Year, guys, and welcome to 2025. Uh, Claire and I were discussing what to do for the first episode. And we both have really high hopes for 2025 being, the year to turn everything around, and it's going to be the year that we hit the ground running. It's going to be the best year yet. And when we were sort of discussing and talking on this first episode, and we both have had so much happening in our lives recently with work and personal, and we were just like, you know what? Let's just be real with what's going on in our own lives. And I guess, step away from that highlight reel of Instagram where you only show the best parts. So we're just gonna be really honest and raw and real with you guys today. So, Claire, how was your New Year's and hitting the ground running for 2025?
Well, I feel like I hit the ground running straight into a door. But yeah, as Heidi said, we were like, yes, really amped about starting the new year off and the podcast and all the positive things in life and the new year and all that stuff. But to be honest, the new year for me was actually a really terrible time. So yeah, that's why we thought, you know what, we're just going to be honest about the podcast, because everybody has New Year's resolutions and all that kind of stuff, and that's great and awesome. Everyone starts off with a positive mindset, but the reality of positive mindsets isn't always the case, is it? So
100%.
for me, my New Year was very much a closure of a chapter of 2024 that was quite traumatic. And I guess the new year just kind of really brought all that to light again. The things that I've been dealing with for 2024, it brought them all back up again, and I found myself in the shower crying, listening to Adele. So I feel like crying in the shower is really good for you, though, because, you cry and the water runs over your face and it washes the tears away. It's cleansing.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, the dogs actually followed me to the shower and sit at the doorway, and they're all looking at me while I'm like crying in the shower. Like, what the fuck is wrong with her today? Yeah. So that was pretty much my New Year's wrapped into one. And it's been a bit of a snowballing effect since then. So just trying to find my feet and figure out what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
What about you?
My New Year's was uneventful. Like, for me, I set the challenge in 2023. I did a year sober, and then 2024 I was drinking alcohol again and was a rat bag and had a great year. And then 2025 I set the challenge to be sober for the year again. So New Year's Eve I literally went to bed. It was great. I woke up hangover free. I had a date on the New Year's Day with a guy.
Yes.
Yeah, second date, that was cool. And then what sort of, I guess for me, like headspace wise, like I was really prepared and in the mindset of, yep, gonna hit the ground running. Apologies, guys, you're gonna hear my cat meowing in the background. This is what happens when you're keeping it real. So hit the ground running, and then I think I've made the mistake of getting too heavily invested in social media with everything that's going on in the world and with the LA fires. And I think one thing I really realized is how much this year I want to disconnect from social media and still, like, obviously be present with what we're doing with the podcast and my label and things like that. But I don't want to focus on what's going on around me, because I think it's so easy to lose track of your own way when you're like embedding yourself into everything going on around you. So I feel like that's taken over my emotions a bit in this first week, if I'm super honest. Yeah. But yeah. What about
Can
you?
we talk about your date?
We can, if you want.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. He was drop dead gorgeous. It was from a dating site, Hinge, good old Hinge. I'd done the I am never downloading this dating app ever again thing, and then I got bored over Christmas and ta-da, downloaded it again.
Next minute.
Yeah. And so I sent the first message. I just said, let's grab a coffee. And he said, let's Heidi, let's make it soon. And I was like, okay, perfect. And then he arranged it. He was pretty prompt, which I loved. I don't like making pen pals on dating apps.
Yeah, I'm consuming.
Yeah. It's like I don't want to tell you how my week's been. Like I don't even tell my friends how my week's been. So yeah, went and grabbed a coffee on New Year's Eve in the morning. It was really good. He is very lovely to look at. And then he wanted he wanted a second date and had suggested New Year's Day, but I knew he was going out New Year's Eve, so I was just like, how about we wait and see how your head is tomorrow? And he just said sure thing, and then he messaged me that afternoon, was like, good news for you, Heidi, is I don't get hangovers. Let's definitely catch up tomorrow. And I was like, okay, perfect. I love a man with a plan. Like, yeah.
Yes.
We caught up on New Year's Day. He was definitely hungover. Like, he was struggling. So I take my hat off to him. He was dusty as. And yeah, we had dinner together. And then I've actually, like, yeah, discussed this with you, Claire, how after the dinner date, like, it was a really conflicting thing for me to do because there were so many things about this guy that I could see aligning with what I want in a future partner. And as we've sort of said, we're at that age where we're ready for that, and that's what we would love. So when you sort of see someone in front of you that feels like you're so close to what you want, it's really hard, or I personally have found it in my own experience hard to cut it and just go, no, it's not fully what I want, and to walk away from it. And from the work I've done myself, like I realize that's me coming from like a scarcity mindset of thinking maybe what I completely want isn't out there, and I'm better to settle with what's right in front of me because it ticks so many boxes. And maybe I want boxes, so maybe I should just like settle. So I actually sent him a text message after dinner that night, and I cut it. Like I said, I won't say his name, but I said, hey, sexy, blah blah. Thank you for 2 amazing dates. You're beautiful to look at. I've loved you kissing me. I said, but I have to do what we've both said is right, which is listen to ourselves. And I said, I'm playing for keeps here, and I can just tell I'm not your wife, so I need to set you free so we can both find our people. Like, all the best. And he wrote back, and
That's so good.
Yeah. It was hard. Like I said to you, I cried when I sent the text, which is so wimpy.
Yeah, because you're also cutting off what could have been, even though deep down you know that it wasn't for you. But that's the mistake so many of us make. We're so scared to cut it off at the start because you think, oh, what if? And then in the end, you realize you've wasted 6 months, 12 months, 2 years with someone that wasn't right for you because you weren't brave enough to see the first signs of your first instinct. So that's so fucking awesome that you did that. Like, it's so brave.
Thank you. I don't know that I felt it at the time, but yeah. And like even you and I have discussed this before too, with getting really clear on what it is that you want, like you yourself, because I think until we as women actually really know what it is we want or what we need as well in a partnership, you kind of get sort of close to that. So it's so important for us to have really like clear boundaries on what it is we know we need, so we can be the best girlfriends and partners with them because our needs are being met.
And that's also really healthy moving forward with someone, because you go into something with no resentment from the start. If you are dating someone and you have to explain to them how you need to be loved, I mean, not that people should just know, because everybody needs to know, you know, what each other needs. But if you're constantly telling a guy that you're seeing what you need from him, then that's going to cause resentment moving forward for you for how many months? Like the guy I've been recently seeing, as you know, we won't go into names, but like honestly, I've had to tell him so many times what I'm looking for, what I expect, and you know, I don't think it's not beyond anything. Like there's no super expectation to be met. The only expectation is that you treat me how I treat you, and that's even. Like it shouldn't be too much to ask of someone, you know, mutual respect kind of thing. Well, not even respect, but like if you have to keep telling someone what you want, it's going to tarnish it from the start, isn't it?
Yeah.
100%. So you're setting clear boundaries, which is so good.
Yeah. Well, I think as well then, like, also I think for quite a long time I was in the headspace of thinking, oh, I chop it, it's over, it's done, it's dusted, like that's the end. And not actually allowing space for the fact that men have full capability of coming back and putting more effort in if they want to. Like if a man wants something, he will make the effort, and like to touch on that guy that I went on those 2 dates with, when I'd sent that message, he then sent a message back and just said like, thank you, Heidi, you're going to make some man really happy. Like you're wonderful as well.
Yes.
That was
and
that.
You will.
Oh, that was left as that. But then a few hours later, he followed up again. And this is where it taps into the men will chase or put in effort or make the effort if they want to. So he just followed up a few hours later and just said, like, thank you heaps for your honesty, Heidi. I really appreciate it. But do you actually mind me asking why you think we weren't the right fit for one another? Like, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. And for me, when he sent that message, I was like, wow, that's actually a huge green flag to me in a person, that they're capable of, one, not flying off the handle that I've rejected them, and then two, being able to self-reflect, like the fact that he wants to actually sit with my experience so he can understand. I was like, wow, that's like really attractive. So I mean, I think throughout the dating scene and the mess and that it all is, I do think along the way it's teaching us and showing us like more so what we need and want. Like him doing that for me, I was like, oh wow, that's actually a quality or a trait I would really want in a future partner, is someone that can come back to me and have healthy communication and self-reflect. So even if I don't keep up with that person, it's shown me that men are capable of doing that.
It's, oh my God, the dating world's just fucked.
What's your experience been?
How do you even meet someone though? How do you meet someone this day and age if it's not on a dating app or something? It's so hard to authentically meet someone.
I know. I agree. I feel like it's workplaces and through friends of friends. Like I feel like we're meant to just be getting out there and doing things that make us feel alive. And
but then there's also the time, and honestly, who can be fucked shaving to go on a Tinder date? You get home from work, you work 6 days a week, 12-hour days, by the time you get home, you're like, oh my God, I'm hairy and I can't be fucked. Like, so what do you do?
This is the thing.
That's when you text old mate. That's when you text old mate down the road that you didn't really like, but he was okay. So fuck it. Don't even have to shave for him. You're done.
It's quick and easy, right?
It's complacency, right? But I don't know. Far out.
What has your experience been with men communicating, like, or being good at communicating?
Terrible. I seem to just date the males that don't like to communicate healthily, if that's even a word. I don't know. There's so many. I think also as you go along in life, you can't get to your late 20s, 30s, 40s without some kind of trauma. Like all of us have had trauma at some point in our life, right? So moving forward in relationships with people, if you haven't really done the work yourself, you can't communicate properly with someone else because you don't even know what you want or how to express your feelings. So you can't express, so they can't express their feelings to you because they don't even know how to deal with them. So there's that communication barrier. And I really feel like I sound like such a prune, like a grumpy old bitch, but honestly, I just feel like my dating experience has been like the foster girlfriend. I'll foster them until they're ready to go out into the world to meet their forever partner. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah. Yeah. Actually, there was a meme about it, and I was like, oh, I finally feel seen. That was that. You know,
Yeah.
like you teach them how to communicate and you set the boundaries and this and that and the rest. And then by the end of it, you're so worn out with trying to communicate with these people that don't communicate that you end the relationship and off they go and they're better and you're fucked.
Yeah. I know.
So, yeah, I just haven't had any good experiences with males dating and communication. And I'm a talker. I love talking about my feelings.
Yeah.
Oversharer even.
Yeah.
But, yeah. What about you? I feel like you've done a lot of work for yourself. It's good.
Yeah. I think I definitely, all the experiences you're saying were very much my experiences prior to starting to do my own personal development and my own work on me. And then since I've done that, it's either changed the caliber of men that have come into my life, or I've still had those men come into my life, but I've recognized it a lot sooner and quicker because of my own work, and that way I've chopped them off a lot sooner and quicker. Because
yes, like the most recent one, New Year's.
Yeah, because I can recognize, I'm like, oh, this isn't fully what is right for me at this stage of my life. And like, that's not to say he can't ever come back around and be what's right, but in that moment, I was just honoring myself. And
yeah,
I think when you've been a people pleaser, like we've spoken about this topic quite a bit as well, like people pleasing, when you're used to being a people pleaser, it's quite hard to begin with to set strong boundary lines for yourself. Like you really doubt that you're doing the right thing by doing that, because people don't like it and you're used to wanting them to be happy, so you're like, oh, really conflicted.
Yeah.
So definitely a self-evolution, the dating scene, I think.
Yeah. So, right, so we're talking about dating. What are your top 3 red flags? Straight up, go.
Oh, top one, first and foremost, is that every chick he has dated is crazy. I'm like, wow, you're the dominator.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, so what did you do to make them crazy? That's definitely number one. Number two, is this is going to be like a bit of a double-edged sword, because I would tend towards saying not respecting their mum, like not having respect for their mother, or having a bad relationship with their mother. But then when I mentioned the bad relationship, and I know you and I wanted to make this another episode talking about generational trauma, I know there's so much going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know there's so much going on in life right now with almost our generation being the one that is doing all the work on all the generational baggage from behind us.
Yes. So,
I feel like the mother thing is a bit touch and go, because maybe it's not like, as long as I can tell they have respect for their mum, but maybe the relationship is strained, I understand that. But if they're outright like just being like dropping swear words about the woman that gave birth to them, that and then my third one would be, I'm going to say they don't like animals. If they don't like animals, that's a massive red flag.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure is.
Yeah. What about you? What are your
top 3? Oh, sorry. There's a little delay in the audio here. My top 3 would be Snapchat. Snapchat for me is, I think that Snapchat, I mean, yes, like if you're just starting to see someone, of course everyone has social media and all that kind of thing, like that's fine. But I feel like Snapchatting in the middle of the night from random chicks is absolutely a red flag. But of course, also depends how far into seeing them or relationship you are. I just don't believe that anybody going into a relationship actually needs that platform. There's plenty of other platforms that you can have apart from Snapchat. Snapchat's fucking seedy because, I mean, the conversations disappear.
Yeah.
So Snapchat and the usage of Snapchat for me is a bit of a and yeah, second one is how many doors they have open to their past. So how many of their exes, like, so if you're starting to date someone, how many exes are in their life still and what's the situation with that? Yeah. So, you know, it's great that you don't end a relationship on bad terms because, you know, sometimes people grow apart, all that kind of stuff. But depending on the relationship, I feel like if you're dating someone and they still have all the doors open to their past, you can't really move forward. And that has to be a respect thing, like from both sides, female and male. Yeah. And the third one would be mobile phone usage. Yeah, and I actually
in what way?
Sound like a crazy bitch, but
mobile phone usage in what way?
Because okay, so like if your phone's on silent, if you take your phone to the toilet with you, if your phone's always in your pocket, if it's always on silent, if you're on the phone and then, you know, someone walks in, like, you know, sorry, if they're on the phone and you walk in and they're out of the phone, like, oh, hey, babe. Oh, fuck off. What were you just doing? Like, I wasn't born yesterday. Like, complete transparency with technology and phone chatting and things. Like, if you're looking at something, you shouldn't be looking, why are you dating that person? Like, do you know what I mean? So they're my top 3.
With the phone, for me, I'm always sus when, like, you go for dinner and they put the phone face down. I'm like, what do you not want me to see pop up on that screen?
Yeah.
Like,
or it's on silent in their pocket.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that's also like the hard thing about dating these days because everybody has so many different social media outlets, you know, like there's so many different chats on different platforms going on. Like, how the fuck? What the fuck?
I actually found myself like on Hinge the other week with the age bracket. I actually put it up to 50. So we turned 40 this year, but I was like, I'm actually going to extend it to 50. Not that I think I'm going to end up with 50-year-olds, but for the simple fact that I was like, he probably wouldn't have a clue about Snapchat or like Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, not from that. So I'm like, that's probably a good thing. Like, I'm like, that's actually,
Yeah. Okay, so what we sort of touched on at the start of the episode, grief, what do you do to cope? What's your coping mechanism? Like, what do you, so like, you know, you're traveling along in life and then you have a bad turn. Is it something that triggers you? Is it because you're tired? Like, what's your general plan of what happens with your mental health? And how do you, like, so obviously you know that it's going to happen. What do you do when it happens? Like, what's Heidi's coping mechanism?
I think the one thing I've learnt to do is recognizing it really quickly and not letting, like, saying to myself, these are just my thoughts, because thoughts aren't facts. And I need to if I let myself keep snowballing with a storyline, like, it can get worse. So I'll pull myself up in the moment, or as soon as I recognize that I'm going down a Debbie Downer pathway. And I'll just be like, okay. And then I'll sort of, depends where I'm at, what I'm doing, but I'll be like, how can I redirect this right now? And if I'm at home and I can go and work on my jewelry line, like, I'll go and consciously take myself out of whatever environment I'm in and change to a new environment to break that pattern or that habit.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, that's good.
You do.
Yeah, no, honestly, I've just been coping with it, and then I feel like crying is a very important part of life.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like such a Debbie Downer thing to say, but
Not at all.
you need to cry to let everything out, to reset and start again. So I actually wasn't joking when I said I put Adele on and I cry in the shower. So
That's a good
that's what I
thing.
do. Like, yeah, so it's like letting all the shit out. Let go of all the shit, and then you're like, righto, I've got it. And the dogs look at me like, okay, cool. But yeah, but that's really about it.
Again.
Yeah. And sometimes you just really need good sleep, don't you? Like sleep deprivation is a huge thing, especially when you're working a lot and all the other shit going on in life.
Yeah, 100%. I think it probably is just very much about being, again, it comes back to the dating scene or all of it. It's being aware of yourself and what you need personally to help yourself in that situation. Yes, and I think even you saying being in the shower and crying, like I think that's so important because like I learned many years ago, like the worst thing you can do is suppress your emotions. So to actually present with them and let them out is incredible.
Yeah.
Doing the best you can.
Yes, exactly. That's all we're doing, aren't we? Just fucking making lemonade or something.
Exactly.
So we better wrap the episode up. This is just a little starter of the shit we talk, wasn't it?
The crazy nonsense that's going to come out of our mouth.
Oh, yeah. And we've got some exciting guests coming on, Heidi. Hey.
We do.
Right?
We do. We've got to book them in and line it up. But yeah, they will be part of our 2025 podcast episode schedule. But thanks for tuning in today, guys. We'll put snippets of this on the Instagram page. Whatever you want to hear, see, talk about, hear us talk about. Yeah, just let us know and we'll jump on that.
Even if you want to come in and do a three-way. Oh, that didn't come out right. Even if you want to come in and do a three-way chat
Only
with us,
if we don't really have to shave.
Like, yes, because shaving sucks. But yeah, if you want to come on and chat about some of your lemonade stories, we would love to chat, and we'd be happy to do a three-way chat with you if you want to come on the pod.
Yeah, sounds perfect. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great day, week.
Bye. Bye.